Apply triangle sum property. Our learning targets for this lesson are that we be able to classify and identify a triangle by its sides as well as by its angles. We should be able to distinguish between interior and exterior angles, and then we should be able to use the triangle sum theorem and the exterior angle theorem to solve problems about the measures of a triangle. So at the end of this lesson, you should feel comfortable with all of these things. So let's talk about what a triangle is. A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides. So given a triangle, a 3-sided polygon with vertices A, B, and C, I could either name this triangle ABC or triangle ABC. That's the shorthand. Now when we're looking at triangles, we can classify them by their sides. And if we classify them by their sides, we have 3 different types. Scalene, and a scalene triangle has no congruent sides. All of the sides are a different length. An isosceles triangle has at least 2 congruent sides. So this side and this side are congruent. And an equilateral triangle has 3 congruent sides. So all of the sides of my equilateral triangle are congruent. Now one thing I want you to notice is that if you have an equilateral triangle, it is also isosceles, because an isosceles triangle has at least 2 congruent sides. That's the minimum. And since an equilateral has 3, it can also be characterized as isosceles. Equilateral is the best name, but if you had to list all names, you could list both. All right, now let's classify our triangles by angles. We've got an acute triangle. An acute triangle has 3 acute angles, meaning less than 90 degrees. We have a right triangle, and a right triangle has 1 right angle. The other 2 angles would be acute and complementary. We have an obtuse triangle, which has 1 obtuse angle, and an equiangular triangle. There we go. That has 3 congruent angles. So all of my angles are congruent. And notice that our equiangular triangle is also an acute triangle, because in order for all 3 angles to be congruent, they would all have to be acute. In order for all 3 angles to be congruent, they would have to each be 60 degrees. All right, example 1. We want to classify triangle RST by its sides and then determine if the triangle is a right angle. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check our side lengths using our distance formula. Remember your best friend, the distance formula. Now, starting with RT, they gave us these 2 points, so I can find the difference between my x values, so 3 minus a negative 3, and the difference between our y values, so negative 1 minus 3. Take the square root of that, and it comes to 52. The square root of 52. And since we're just looking for length, don't worry about simplifying it all the way down. Just get them square root of 52, square root of 65, get the square root answer, and then compare them. Because if they are the same, then the squared, or the square, whatever's under the square root sign, whatever under the radical, should be the same. So looking at RS, we say 5 minus -3 squared plus the difference of our y's squared, so 2 minus 3 squared, and that gives us the square root of 65. Then we've got ST, so 3 minus 5 squared is the difference of our x's, and -1 minus 2 squared is the difference of our y's, which gives us the square root of 13. So we can look at all of our lengths here, and we can see that none of these answers are the same. So we know that all three lengths are different, so our triangle must be scalene. All right, next we want to check our angles using slope. So I know this is an acute angle, angle R, and I know angle S is acute, but it's difficult to determine if T is acute or right or obtuse. So we're going to use the slope of the two lines that create this angle. So if I look at RT, I can find the slope of RT, and I find that it is -2/3. Then I look at the slope of ST, and I find that ST is +3/2. So if you look, this slope and this slope are negative reciprocals of each other. Negative reciprocals tell me that RT must be perpendicular to ST. And if RT is perpendicular to ST, then that means this little angle must be a right angle. Therefore, triangle RST is a right scalene triangle. Okay, down here I've got 3 practice questions for you to try. So go ahead and pause the video for just a moment, try to work out the problems, then check your answers. Okay, so here are the 3 answers to this problem. The first one, we've got 60 and equiangular. Second one, we've got 30 and it's a right triangle. And the third one, we've got 134 and it's acute. So if you have any questions about those, make sure you ask me the next time I see you, and we can go over those. Okay, let's talk about interior and exterior angles. So interior angles are exactly like what they seem like. They are the angles on the inside of the triangle. So this angle here is interior, this angle here is interior, and this angle here is interior. Now, your exterior angles are the angles that are going to form a linear pair. If you were to extend the sides of your triangle, then you would create some linear pairs with your interior angle. So notice I have an interior angle right here. This is the exterior angle that goes with that interior angle. I have another interior angle right here. This exterior angle is its linear pair. And then I have a third interior angle right here, and this exterior angle is its linear pair. So notice they're always on the same side of the extension. There's another set of exterior angles. If I start at the same one, if I extended and looked at this line, then I would have an exterior angle here and an exterior angle here. Oops. and an exterior angle right here. There we go. So a few things I want you to notice. Number one, your exterior angles are always going to be the linear pair to your interior angle. And the next thing I want you to notice is that these two exterior angles are vertical. So that means they're congruent. So it doesn't really matter which way you're looking at your extension, if you choose to look at all the light blue ones, or if you choose to look at all the dark pink ones. It doesn't matter because you should get the same answer. All right, so keeping that in mind, we have to understand what an interior and exterior angle are in order to understand our triangle sum theorem. And our triangle sum theorem states that if you add all the interior angles of your triangle, it will add up to 180 degrees. The sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. So in triangle ABC, I know that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equals 180 degrees. Next, my exterior angle theorem. My exterior angle theorem tells me that if I have an exterior angle, angle 1 for example, it is going to be equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. The sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. So, what that means is that the measure of angle 1, which is my exterior angle, is equal to the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B. So A plus B is going to equal this exterior angle 1. All right, let's do an example using that theorem. So using our exterior angle theorem, I want to find the measure of my exterior angle. So I know that my exterior angle is 3x minus 9. And my exterior angle is equal to the angle A plus angle B. And I know that angle A is x, and I know that angle B is 73. So now I just have a simple algebra problem, and I'm trying to find the measure of the exterior angle. So 2x is equal to 82, which means that x is equal to 41. And since my x value is 41, now I need to plug that back in to my x value up here. So I would say 3 times 41 minus 9, and that's going to be my angle measure. So that's 114 degrees. All right, next problem. My angle measure is 3x, my exterior angle is 3x plus 16. And I know that that has to be equal to angle A plus angle B. So now that I've got my algebra set up, I can see that x is going to be equal to 36. And I want to find the measure of my exterior angle. So I'm going to plug that in. 3 times 36 plus 16. And that's going to equal 124 degrees. Alright, so I have 3 problems for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video, try the problems, and then check your solutions. Alright, so the answer to the first one is 145 degrees. The answer to the second one is 114. And the answer to the third one is 92 degrees. So if you've got any questions, make sure you ask me next time I see you.